All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. The National Football League's competition committee has been hard at work to tinker with things in regards to player safety. And with that said, you can now say farewell to kickoffs as we know them. Now, kickers will continue to kick from the 35-yard line, but now the other 10 players on the kicking team will line up at the receiving team's 40-yard line, while at least nine members of the receiving team will line up in a setup zone between the 30 and 35-yard line. Touchbacks will now be marked at the 30-yard line. And of course, this is a rule that's only in place for a year, but you can see the writing on the wall that this is going to be permanent in the National Football League. And with that said, kickers in the mode of Devin Hester, Billy White Shoes Johnson, Brian Mitchell. You can go right down the list. These guys are going to be a thing of the past as you are basically saying farewell to kickoffs as we know them. For me, the other thing is this. I know that the NFL is coming along with this as far as player safety, but you think about how many guys over the years have been able to make NFL teams based off of what they were able to do on special teams, especially kick coverage, punt coverage, you name it. And now those guys are not going to have those same opportunities now to go out there and try to show a coach what he can or cannot do. And usually, it's the late round guys, the rookies, the guys who are fifth, sixth, seventh round picks, undrafted guys that want to try to go out there and make a team. Now, those opportunities are not going to be there. And getting back to the whole player safety aspect, the NFL can say whatever they want about it. But I mean, listen, the NFL does not care about player safety. The NFL cares about lawsuits. Okay. Because if the NFL cared about player safety, we wouldn't have a Thursday night game every week where you got guys, on the heels of playing Sunday games, Sunday night games, late Sunday afternoon games, you name it, whatever. Uh, and then turning around and having to play a Thursday game every single week. Of course, it's not the same guys, of course, not the same teams, but nonetheless, the concept of Thursday night games. The new onside kick rules, okay, there will never be another Super Bowl 44 because now you got to go out there and declare whether or not you are going to attempt an onside kick. And the reason why I'm saying there will never be another Super Bowl 44, you go back to that Super Bowl when the Saints took on the Colts, and Sean Payton made the move to begin the second half by going surprise onside to fool the Indianapolis Colts. The Saints recovered the football, and of course, the rest was history. Okay, we've seen them tinker with the onside kick rule several times. Of course, before we would see, the whole posse just line up on one side of the field, and that first wave was there to take out the first wave of guys on the hands team, and then everybody else would just go in there trying to dive to get the football. Those days are over. And of course, since tinkering with the onside kick rule, we've seen the percentages drop significantly. Okay, in regards to teams, being successful in recovering the onside kick. Also banning the hip drop tackle. And it's one of those where, some are in favor of this, some are clearly not. But at the end of the day, when the National Football League implements new rules, it's never in favor of the defense. As this league is all about money, okay, they're all about ratings. And those ratings and that money is going to come from what is generated from the offensive side of the football. So now it's going to make it even tougher than it already was for defenders to try to go out there and tackle guys. And it's also going to make life tougher for referees because now they have to figure out what is a hip drop tackle and what isn't on the fly. I'm sure there's going to be training for them in the off season now, but nonetheless, it's still something that they're going to have to figure out. It's going to be a huge gray area for teams coaches, officials, and fans all alike. And I guarantee you, at the end of the day, most people, especially defensive players, are not going to like this. So at the end of the day, how do I feel about the new rules? I'll tell you like this. The NFL, in my opinion, is attempting to take violence out of a game that was born on violence. And that's the thing. I mean, you go back, as far as like player safety, I understand and I get, you know, players targeting the head and neck area of defensive players as far as the head injuries go, the concussions and the lawsuits. That's what that's all built off of. Because at the end of the day, the NFL, how much money did they make from NFL films, from selling videos, as far as like the violent hits of the National Football League? So it's one of those where, they don't want you hitting, above the shoulders. Then, you got to watch out, for guys' knees as well. So at the end of the day, a lot of defensive players and former defensive players are going to say, hey, you know what? Flag football is next. The NFL continues to be the king right now as far as how they're going about things, but nonetheless, at some point, you're going to take so much physicality out of the game that it's going to be unbearable to watch. And I think that we are steamrolling down that highway as we speak. So it's going to be interesting to see how defensive players have to adjust to these rules, how the coaches adjust to how, they are coaching their defensive players. That's going to be the biggest thing. Like I always say, when these rules are implemented, they're always more emphasis on things that have to change defensively. So that's going to be the big thing. But nonetheless, it's unfortunate because kickoffs, I think, were a big part of the game as far as field position goes, you name it. Kickoffs will never, and I repeat, never be the same. And, it's one of those things, it's hypocrisy on the part of the NFL because we saw them move back the uh the yard line for the extra point about 10 years ago because they wanted to make every single play more exciting, make every single play count. But you're doing the exact opposite on kickoffs now, and you're hiding behind the moniker of player safety. Again, they could hide behind player safety all they want. It comes down to lawsuits from the head and neck injuries. That's the bottom line. That's what it's all about. But at the end of the day, the power brokers of the National Football League have voted for this. I'm not in favor of it. Clearly, I don't have a vote at the table. I'm just a fan like everybody else. But nonetheless, it's a sad day for kickoff returners and the impact that they made on special teams. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.